Welcome to the Church of the Week program on AM 630, The Word. Each week, we highlight a different local church or ministry impacting our community. Now let's welcome our Church of the Week host, Chad Schapiro, and today's guest.
Hey everybody, this is Chad Schapiro, host of Church of the Week, and I want to thank AM 630, The Word, and KSLR.com for even having this show here because it is not easy. It costs a lot. I am sure we're out here looking out over this beautiful airport and just blessed to have guests up here from around our city. I get a chance to work with Texas Baptist as the area representative, as well as something called Pastor Strong, which is a health initiative for pastors and leaders. And today we are really blessed to have Frank Kirby, who leads Hope Restored out in Wimberley. Also Focus on the Family, I think, is the owner of that. And we get a chance to do some amazing things here in the near future with Hope Restored out there, and as well as an event with Ted Cunningham. And before I get into those things too far, I just want to thank you for being here. I know you're busy, came in and spending some time with us. Thank you.
Man, thank you for having me. I know that we've been trying to get this set up for a while and my schedule easy. And man, it's just been busy, but I'm so glad to be here today.
Yeah. And so I know you didn't start off with there, but I know you've been working in the marriage ministry area for a long time. Maybe, when did you first even give your life to Christ? What was that like?
Man, so I was in high school. Okay. When I gave my life to Jesus, and just how it happened, it was actually through a football game, actually.
Wow.
And just kind of almost like a teenager's prayer, like, Lord, if you help us win this game.
No way. Are you serious?
I will choose to follow you.
Great.
And man, So the rest is history. We won the game, and I said, you know what, Lord, I'm choosing to follow after you. I mean, you answered that prayer, and so it was kind of
you guys won the
childish.
Game.
We won the game, and then we went on to win the state championship. The next game after that,
man, and, God was he was overperforming right there. Yeah.
So again, it was this teenage kind of prayer, just lifting that up. But man, just seeing God answer that prayer, I was like, okay, God, you've got me. You got me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so I want to hear everything in between from where you started there, right, to where, but where you are now, in case some of you guys click off. I know sometimes people come into a podcast or the radio or Facebook Live, and if you're on here, share it, please, especially if you're around San Antonio, because this is very kind of San Antonio specific. We have incredible property over there with Focus on the Family. Hope Restored is called in Wimberley. And they do things for pastors and non-pastors to help. Maybe you can go into detail about that.
Right. Yeah. So Hope Restored, we have a couple of things that we do. The main thing that we do is we help couples who are in crisis. So couples who are really struggling in their marriage, and they come to the property. It's an all-inclusive kind of a resort style.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, you've got a chance to come out. And so couples are coming out there, and maybe they've tried other things. They've tried maybe counseling, or they've tried some groups or things, and it just hasn't worked out for them, and things just haven't improved. And so they come to Hope Restored. They get about a year's worth of Christian therapy in a week.
Yeah.
And man,
and when you're really hurting, they need that, right? Because sometimes if you drag it out for a year and you're still going at each other the whole year long, you might have had some good words along the way, but you forget them because you're just.
It can be a challenge. I mean, if you're the typical marriage counseling is like 50 minutes a week, and then you've got the whole week to kind of build up kind of the resentment or the frustration, and then you're back to that 50 minutes a week. But the intensive, you're doing just these hours of therapy. And we have private intensives where it's just a couple with two Christian therapists, or we have a group intensive where it's a group of couples who are working through marriage issues with two trained Christian therapists, walking them through whatever those issues are that bring them to counseling.
And then the pastors things on the weekend.
Yeah, so we see pastors and their spouses in the intensives, but we also have what's called weekend getaways, and these weekend getaways are really more enrichment, and so they're free for pastors and their spouses, where they stay on the property and they get a weekend just away, because we want to just support pastors. They have a difficult job ministering to families and individuals, and so we just want uplift them and give them a weekend away.
Yeah.
And then those couples who are not in crisis, wanting just enrichment, they can come to those weekend getaways as well on a variety of topics, whether it's working together as a team or communication skills, those types of topics.
So incredible. So Pastor Strong has worked with the San Antonio Marriage Initiative for years, hosting retreats. And this year we're going to be out at this property. And so we're very, very excited about that. And then Focus on the Family, which you can go look them up on the internet and see how incredible they are worldwide. It feels like even this property, you've said people fly in from different countries. And
and we've got 4 properties around the country too. So we do have people from all over the world that come to Wimberley, Texas, of all places.
That's awesome.
But we have a site in Phoenix, Arizona. We've got one in Greenville, Michigan, and then one in Branson, Missouri. And all of them do the intensives every week, and they also offer those weekend retreats as well for enrichment.
So I don't golf much, but one of the things I might have to start, because that's really how I got to hang out with Frank a little bit, is I was asked to golf in Austin with a couple great guys. And one of them is what do you call it? A host.
He's a host couple. Yeah, him and his wife help to host.
When the people are on site on the property. He's a host couple in Wimberley. And when I got back from, we were done golfing, he said, "Hey, you need to connect with us in Wimberley. It would be incredible." And so I got to go out there with Erica, and it was just awesome. And then he messaged me and says, Ted Cunningham, we have a sponsor who's going to pay for him to be able to come to San Antonio if you're interested. And of course I said yes, because I figured he must be big if someone's going to donate something to it. And then I talked to Carl Caton and the people from Sammy, and they're like, this guy is gigantic. I guess from their opinion, they said he's like the #1 marriage comedian in the country. So that's their take. And so he's coming for free. And we're tag teaming with you guys. We're tag teaming with Pastor Strong, Saba. Sammy is doing a lot of heavy lifting on this registration link and everything. So I'll try to put that in the comments somewhere, because it's open for everybody for free at Trinity. Thank you guys for opening up. And so he's coming August 7th, right? And it fits 1,200 people in there. But married couples for free get this opportunity. So Focus on the Family has all these tools in the toolbox, I guess.
Yeah. So other than the sites that we have around the country, we do events at churches, marriage events, date nights, marriage kind of conferences as well. And so if churches are interested, they can find out more information on the Focus on the Family website.
So you were involved with marriage ministry. So you had that encounter, right, for the football game. And then what did God do then?
Yeah. So then he just kept ministering to me, guiding me, directing me. I didn't know what he was calling me to. I felt like it was something in the helping field. I got my undergraduate degree in psychology, where I met my beautiful bride, Tamara. And we met here in Texas. And then we got married, and we moved all over the place. We were in Chicago for a time, and then Tampa for a time, before coming back to San Antonio, where my wife grew up. And so we've gotten to do a lot of different things, and God eventually he called me to work at a church. He started here in San Antonio. So I worked at a church for about 11 years. I was the pastor of marriage ministry there. And
so was that your first job at a church, or no?
Yeah, that was my first job at a church. I worked at nonprofit ministries, a lot of them that had Christian backing. But it was my first job.
How about in marriage? Were you involved in marriage ministry before at all?
No, not prior. Yeah. And so in that process of getting involved in the church and things, I also got licensed as a clinical social worker. So
that helps.
So I'm a counselor, but also a pastor. And so I've got that kind of unique experience in being able to serve in that way. And it's been a blessing to get to serve couples, having that pastoral experience, but then also having the counselor experience. Because I think sometimes people think, well, you can't be a pastor and a counselor, like they're in opposition, but you can be a Christian counselor. And we've got Christian counselors from all over the state of Texas that come to Focus on the Family's Hope Restored to be able to lead these marriage intensives. Amazing counselors.
So you were working at a church, and then God called you to this.
Yeah, I was actually at a Focus event, kind of like the Ted Cunningham event at First Baptist Church. Okay. And my wife and I were there just for us, just to do marriage enrichment for us. And we were walking out the door, and one of my friends that I had done ministry with at the church, she called me over. She said, Frank, can you come over here? I want to introduce you to someone. And we started getting to meet some folks there at Hope Restored. And they just said, hey, would you be interested in potentially joining us? And so we just started looking into it and doing some observations with these intensives as part of the process to come on board. And I was sold. I was sold. Just getting
and then your counseling background and how you were already in a big church to serve well in marriage ministry. I could see how God.
Getting to work with other marriage ministry leaders around the city, and including Sammy and First Baptist Church as well, and some of their ministries. It's been really cool to see the city of San Antonio kind of working together to want to support and uplift and put marriage in the place of honor that God desires us to put it.
That's so important. And so, the value and Hope Restored lives it out of helping not just everybody's marriage, but also a special focus for pastors and leaders. And that's where Pastor Strong had connected with Sammy 8 years ago, just to work together to help pastors. There's a lot of struggles there. Can you speak to that a little bit of what it's like to?
Yeah, I think the struggles that pastors have are unique. Mm-hmm. Pastors often, in my experience at least, sometimes have to wear a mask. They can't tell anybody that there's anything going on, any struggles that they might be having, or especially struggles they might be having in their marriage. Yeah. And so I think having a place like Hope Restored, a marriage intensive where they can come, they can feel safe to be able to share and to open up and talk about the things that they're struggling with, can be a real great opportunity for them to find healing, restoration. And, you just think about when you're having marital struggles, how that impacts your ability to do ministry effectively as well. Man, sometimes if I'm trying to help another couple with their marriage and my marriage is struggling, man, that can feel like a really difficult place to try to help somebody else when I'm struggling myself. And so, and Focus on the Family does an amazing job of really wanting to make sure that pastors, especially, we've got scholarships for anyone coming to the intensive, but for pastors specifically, we want to be able to support them in their marriage if they're needing a marriage intensive. So
I think you're right. We put on that mask, and it's like everybody's marriage is hard. Everybody personally goes through challenges as sinners saved by grace and just dealing with this messy world that we're in. And then two people that are going through it get married, and now there's struggle. And so you're in a church, and the pastors are pouring out their heart to everybody else, and the wives are helping wherever they fit in as where they're called. But they're not always ministered to themselves. And that's what I thank God for, what we get to do with Sammy and Pastor Strong together, of like saying, let's try to, even your relationships, it might not be, you might not be fed as much in your own church if you're the leader, because you're feeding everybody else. But let me introduce you to some other families and people that know what you're going through, and then to have tools like Hope Restored sitting there, right? We can say, hey, can we go together? Can we not? Man, what a blessing. But you are listening to AM 630 The Word. My name is Chad Schapiro. You can find it on KSLR.com. You are maybe watching us on social media, podcasts, or wherever you are. So grateful for the Church of the Week. And today it's more of Ministry of the Week, as we have Hope Restored here with us, and Frank Kirby, who leads that out at Wimberley, under the umbrella of Focus on the Family, and that have so many tools out there. And we're talking about the importance of leaders having resources. We really got to press in. And I think sometimes we press in when it's like everything is falling apart, almost like most of us when the dentist and the doctor, where if something's hurting badly, then I'm going to maybe go call the dentist. Or, if my legs hurt, I'll go check it out, maybe at the doctor. Marriage, if it's in shambles, maybe I'll try to press in. But could you speak to maybe the preventative side of how can we be healthy up front?
Absolutely. Yeah. Unfortunately, people will come to a marriage intensive when things have just really gone off the rails. They're really hurting. Things are just overwhelming for them, right? It could be infidelity. It could be just loud, angry conflicts, whatever that might be. And so, right, we kind of use the analogy of like car maintenance, right? If I never change the oil in my car, my car's going to break down. Right. And so what do I need to do preventatively? What do I need to do maintenance wise before my car breaks down, before my marriage breaks down? And so doing things like the marriage getaways can be a really great just refresher. Like, man, how do we solve conflict? How do we communicate effectively, right? What is it about maybe just sharing my emotions and connecting with you on an emotional level? What makes that difficult?
Right.
And so really understanding those things so that I can be proactive before it gets to this place of we feel like roommates or we feel disconnected and we need now an intensive instead of something like a getaway.
Yeah.
So,
and what other things have you seen in your own marriage, because you've been in it for a long time, or other marriages to help with the preventiveness? We have the tools like a weekend getaway, but on a daily rhythm, anything you'd suggest?
Yeah, we encourage couples to do like daily heart talks is what we call them, where they're sharing their emotions with each other on a daily basis. Just about like, where are you at today, right now, in this moment? Right? Where are you right now in this moment? And then connecting around that. And so that could be a daily thing.
I like that.
One of the things, that COVID did for my wife and I actually was, we were at home all the time together, but it wasn't quality time. We found ourselves even disconnected during that COVID time. And what we found was there were two things that we implemented because of COVID. So there were some good things that happened because of COVID. One of them was family fun night. Every week, us and the kids, we try to do something for a family fun night. It might be just playing a game and ordering a pizza or something, but we're intentional. Every Friday night, it's family fun night. And so the kids know, hey, what are we doing for family fun night? Right? We build that into the rhythm. But then Saturday night is typically date night. And so we build that into the rhythm, because what we were finding was we would say we wanted to do a daily or a weekly date, but we never did it. We're like, when's it going to happen? And it just kind of slipped. And so we found that doing a weekly date night, and sometimes our weekly date nights when maybe things were tight financially was, hey, we're going to go walk around at Walmart. It's a cheap date night. We're just spending time together. That's the focus, was that quality time. It wasn't about going out and spending a lot of money on dinner or a movie or those types of things.
That's neat. Yeah. and I've seen, and I've heard Carl Caton talk about this sometimes, that and maybe in your years of helping marriages, that sometimes it'll be on a downswing where maybe numbers are looking terrible, more divorce rates, et cetera, people less interested in marriage. And then all of a sudden it looks like it hits a valley kind of point and starts to go upward, and I think the numbers are showing that it's actually going upward, that people's care for marriages and their desire to be married is going in the right direction. Have you seen that in your time?
I have seen some of that for sure. The intentionality of really wanting to work on your marriage for sure. We do know that marriages are still under attack. We know that there is an enemy prowling around like a lion looking for someone to devour. He's looking for marriages to devour as well. But when we can be proactive in doing things like date nights and family fun nights and things like, like the event that my wife and I went to that helped us to even know about Hope Restored. Doing those types of things can really help us to have the marriage, because our marriages should really reflect God's love for us as well. Our marriages should like, when people see our marriages, they should be like, I know they're Christians. They should just know how we treat each other and how we talk to each other. And unfortunately, even in the Christian community, like our marriages aren't always those models for the rest of the world to see, to go, I want a marriage like that. What are they doing that could I have a marriage like they have?
Yeah. And I think sometimes when the way it looks, right, is we want to look that way, but we don't do the simple things behind closed doors when nobody's around, right, to make them that way, right? Like we just wish we looked that way, but that conversation, like, hey, how are you feeling right now? Right. Like spending that time. Hey, let's be diligent and disciplined. It's easy to say, oh, we're too busy to go on date night, or we don't have the money, or but we need to do those things, right? And then that's what gives us the happiness for everybody to see, is that we put all this stuff. I mean, maybe it's hard to go on the weekend retreat. Oh, how am I going to get a sitter? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? Or how am I going to go to the Ted Cunningham event? But if we don't do these things, right, like they're uncomfortable, I think then we're not smiling and happy, behind the scenes. Often marriage is such an issue in our city like San Antonio, because in a big city, right, we can talk about the prisons, right? We can talk about the orphans, and we can talk about homelessness. We can talk about food insecurities, right? But I've learned that those are what often called downstream issues, which cost a whole lot of money, take a whole lot of resources to try to fix. Or there's things like what you're leading, right, which are upstream, where if you catch it there, right, where the marriages, if the marriages are healthy, then not so much financial struggles, not so much homeless struggles, not so much orphan struggle, not so much food insecurity. And so I thank God, for what you're doing. Have you seen that? And is that why some of the churches asked you to build this strong there? Because some churches feel like, I can't spend a time in a staff position or something on that. I think they're missing it.
Right. I mean, even as the pastor of marriage, I didn't have the time to spend crisis counseling time with a couple, extended hours or those. And we know that pastors are stretched thin as it is, trying to provide resources for those that they're serving. And so, so Hope Restored is a place where pastors that hopefully, we can join with pastors to say, hey, there is a Christian resource that you can send people to that you'll know they're going to get good Christian care while they're there to get the help that they need. And so along with that, I mean, Focus on the Family has resources for parents, families, and lots of resources, but it does, kind of like to your point, take that intentionality.
Yeah.
We have to be intentional. Right. I still have to go to the Focus on the Family website and read the article about how to effectively parent my out of control teenager, or that type of thing. Right. It takes time to watch the video, right? Intentionality. It takes time to go to the marriage events and do the date nights and all those things. So there's a level of intentionality that we need to be able to have the marriage we've always desired. And I think sometimes we feel this sense of vulnerability. Like if I ask my spouse, hey, do you want to go to a weekend event? Man, I'm kind of sharing my heart with her. Like, hey, I'd like to go to this. What if she says no? Right? Man, what's my heart going to feel like if she says no to that?
I can see that.
And so there's this level of vulnerability. Maybe she wants to ask the same thing, but it's vulnerable too. And there's a little bit of that fear of like, ooh, do I ask? What if they say no? And so just to be able to have that courage to be able to say, hey, I desire something more for our marriage, to be able to ask. It does take a lot of courage for sure.
Oh man, I love it. It sparked my mind that there's some things in high school that I could care less about learning. Right. And so I would have been that person who can't fit it in. I remember Spanish class, my teacher always said cállate, right, which is like be quiet, right? Like and siéntate, which is sit down, right? Because I was always running around the class and calculus. Why am I studying this, right? And I hated it. And like, what if you want to teach calculus? I don't. You know what I mean? Like, let me go. And I think sometimes we bring that into as adults, and there's resources that are just sitting there, and we get too preoccupied with our flesh of just thinking, well, it's easier just to have fun, or it's easier to go out, or it's easier whatever. But thank you for reminding us, right, that we need to make time to watch these videos, read these articles, dig into church where there's families that are gathered together so we can learn how to love our spouses better, to parent better. This is so important. We can't have our best learning when we were little kids on flashcards or something. We have to do it now.
Absolutely. And I think about, as you were speaking, just this concept of investing.
Yeah.
Man, we invest in a lot of things. We invest in cars, we invest in education, we invest in houses. I mean, how many times have you heard of somebody saying, you know what, I'm going to invest in my marriage?
Yeah.
I think about premarital, right? We talk about an investment before you get married.
Yeah, the people are more focused sometimes then, right? Yeah.
How much am I investing into my marriage, into my family, right? And just that practical investing of whatever it is, it doesn't have to be even monetarily. What about with my time? How am I investing my time into my marriage, or into shepherding my kids, or whatever that might be?
So unfortunately, we got to go. But any last things you want to say about your Hope Restored? Or anything?
Man, you know what? It has been just an amazing experience to see God work in the lives of couples who come to Hope Restored. I mean, the hope restored. Amen. That couples experience when they come in with divorce papers oftentimes, and they leave going, hey, we've got this new spark in our marriage.
Praise
right
God.
And they're connected, they're engaged, and they're moving toward a direction that they can be really excited about. And so if you have questions, hoperestored.com, there's assessments on there. You can see pictures of all the properties. get a little more information, you can call our registration office to find out more. If you have questions, schedule a time to meet with one of our registrars as well. So
you'll be blessed. Take care. God bless you.
Thanks for joining us this week for Church of the Week. Please visit us online at am630theword.com for more information or to listen to previous Church of the Week programs. If you would like to recommend your church be featured on a future program, please email us at churchoftheweek@kslr.com.